WSAV is your local election headquarters. We're just hours away now from Georgia's primary election day, and candidates across Georgia made their final push today.
2 Republican candidates spent the day in Savannah rallying supporters and sharpening their message on issues ranging from the economy to public safety. WSAV's Nakaya Harris on the campaign trail.
I will never embarrass you, and I'll work hard. Everyone knows that, and I will win.
I am the only Republican candidate that can win in November.
With Election Day just hours away, Republican candidates are making their closing arguments to voters in what could be a high turnout primary. Congressman Buddy Carter, who's running for U.S. Senate, focused heavily on aligning himself with President Donald Trump and conservative priorities during his final push across the state.
We need someone in the United States Senate who's going to support President Trump and his America First policies. And that's what I've done in the House, and that's what I'm going to do in the Senate.
Carter also leaned into hot-button issues.
I do not want my granddaughters competing against a biological male in sports. I don't want a biological male in their locker room. Those are not Georgia values. On the economy, things are improving. Yes, gas prices are high, and we feel that. Trust me, as much as we drive around the state, we feel that. We understand it. But at the same time, as soon as this conflict with Iran is over with, gas prices will go back down.
Meanwhile, Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, who's running for governor, centered his campaign message around affordability, economic growth, and public safety.
When I'm governor, we're going to focus on workforce and education and literacy and infrastructure. I mean, here we are, the ports of Savannah and Brunswick, just economic engines. We're going to continue to invest in it. We're going to have the lowest tax burden of any state in the nation.
Carr also argues Republicans must appeal beyond the party base.
The only way you win in November in Georgia in 2026 is to be able to appeal to the ever-growing independent voter in this state. And they care about jobs, safety, education, affordability.
Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3, on your side.
One of the Democratic candidates for governor in Georgia also making a stop in Savannah today to meet with voters ahead of tomorrow. So former State Senator Jason Estevez hosted a breakfast campaign event where he answered questions about issues ranging from health care to housing. Estevez says his campaign is focused on lowering the cost of living for Georgians, creating what he calls a new generation of leadership. Today, he also called for greater accountability for data centers and large corporations receiving tax incentives, saying that more support should go towards small businesses and working families.
Represent a new generation of leadership, one that is laser focused on delivering results, making sure that we address issues that have been plaguing this state for a generation. Healthcare, economic opportunity, and investing in education so that our children have more opportunities than what we've had.
The Georgia Secretary of State's office says they are seeing a record turnout for this year's primary election, with more than 1 million people already casting their ballot. That works out to just under 14% of active voters. Now, the director of Chatham County's Board of Elections says they're ready for voters to come to the polls tomorrow.
Staff already started contacting polling locations at the end of last year to make sure that we're on the schedule for Election Day and the day before for delivery of the machines. All the staff has been getting ready for the managers, the trainings of the poll workers, the delivery of the machines. And so today we're getting all that out for managers to pick up their stuff and prep for tomorrow.
Schreiner says they're expecting about a 60 to 65% voter turnout for the primary. And she wants to remind voters to bring a government-issued ID with them, as it is required to vote.
Turning our attention to South Carolina now, lawmakers there returning to Columbia today as the special session on redistricting continues. The push to redraw the map comes less than a month before the South Carolina primary. Statewide, the last primary broke down to 48% Republican voters, 41% Democrat. The remaining 11 were independent. Some Republican leaders say this effort is about fairness, but some civil rights groups believe it disenfranchises minority voters. The State House is required to make a decision by next Tuesday, May 26th. That is the first day of early voting.
Primary election day in Georgia again is tomorrow. The polls will open at 7 a.m., closing at 7 p.m. Now, for more information about this year's elections, you can go to our website at wsav.com/electionhq.
Continuing coverage now, just days after being granted a new trial from the South Carolina Supreme Court, Alec Murdaugh has filed a civil lawsuit against former Chatham County Clerk of Court Becky Hill. The civil suit filed today by Murdoch's team says that Hill violated Murdoch's constitutional right to a fair trial. Murdoch is seeking punitive damages and attorney fees totaling $600,000. This stems from allegations that Hill, in her role as clerk of court, tampered with several jurors in Murdoch's murder trial, which impacted the outcome. Those allegations formed the basis of the state Supreme Court's decision to grant Murdoch a new trial. While Hill denied any jury tampering during the appeals hearing, she resigned from office in March 2024, a year after the verdict. You can read the full lawsuit at WSAV.com.
A soldier stationed at Fort Stewart has been arrested after allegations of child molestation. This dates back to 2017. Now, the Coffee County Sheriff's Office says 26-year-old Tyrone Carter Jr. was arrested Friday and has been charged with aggravated child molestation. Deputies say they responded to a home in Douglas back in February after reports of sexual assault over the past 9 years. During their investigation, multiple victims came forward alleging incidents from their childhoods. Carter was detained on base at Fort Stewart and transported to Coffee County. Anyone with information or if you may have been a victim, you're asked to call the Sheriff's Office 912-384-4227.
New tonight, Chatham County officials sharing potential updates to short-term rental regulations for the county's unincorporated areas. Tonight, the public had a chance to voice their concerns before any final decisions are made. WSAV's Isabella Baez was there. She joins us now with reaction.
That's right, Ben. Tonight, county officials presented a list of updates that include changes to occupancy rates, license requirements, and fines. Meanwhile, homeowners, property managers, and residents had a chance to voice their concerns that they hope the county will take into consideration.
The changes that we made were just really based on the things that the community has told us and some of the issues that we've come across.
Assistant Director of the Chatham County Building Safety, Marcus Lotson, says this is the first time the ordinance has gone through any changes since it was created in 2020. Changes, they say, are meant to help both the property owners and the neighbors. The proposal includes limiting the number of guests allowed if the home is on a septic tank, and new rentals must be 500 feet away from another rental.
The reason we're doing this is because Chatham County has a big problem with affordable housing. And we continuously have all these houses in these neighborhoods being sold to people who don't live here or are using it as a business. And we are losing our own community members.
Monday night, the public did not agree with all the proposed updates. The main one, the idea of not allowing a homestead exemption on a short-term rental, even if you are only renting out a room in your home.
Just to kind of reiterate what some other people have said, with the homestead exemption ban, that is how many people are able to afford being a homeowner, is being able to rent out that extra space in their home. There's a lot of studies on it. There's a lot of data that supports that information.
Another concern this proposed ordinance addresses is safety and how violations are handled, requiring property owners to answer all inquiries within 1 hour.
And so anytime we get a complaint or we have to do a violation notice and they're out of town, we have no way to contact them. So now we're changing that.
Officials say these changes aren't finalized, and Chatham County commissioners will hold a second reading for short-term rental amendments on May 22nd at 9:30 a.m. As well, Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Isabella, thank you.